Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Basscast Radio. I am your host, Brian Carter, and my co-host up there in the top, if you guys are watching on YouTube, Hank the Bass Geek. What is happening, my brother? Welcome back to another great episode of Basscast Radio. Man, oh man, what a week it has been here. And it's been a week for both of us, but we're back here doing this for you because we love the sport of bass fishing because it's been freaking crazy. I ain't gonna lie.
It's been crazy.
I don't know if it's the full moon coming or what it is, geek. I mean,
Yeah, man. I don't either.
or the eclipse.
The eclipse is
Hey,
leftovers.
let's blame
Leftovers.
let's blame everything on the eclipse like everybody else did. I mean, heck, if we can blame it on something, let's blame it.
I think they stole my wallet.
They had a song, blame it on the rain. Let's blame it on the eclipse. I mean, what the heck here? Heck of a week here at the basscast.com. But guys, appreciate you all tuning in and listening. We got a great show for you guys tonight. We got Mr. Ken Mei from Xander Tackle Tour. If you guys have not gone to tackletour.com and checked out that website, guys, they do an in-depth look at products. They get reels and they tear them apart. They don't just try them out. They rip the guts out of them and see how they're built, how they're made, and give a review on it. You want to know, there's other websites out there that write a story about a review about a product. But if you really want to know the in-depth about a lure, a product, a rod, a reel, they'll break them in half to try them. You know what I'm saying? They dive deep into this thing here. And, Alex was talking about it earlier, it could be that they just dive too deep. So did I say Alex earlier or Ken? Who did I say? I can't even remember. I did say Alex, didn't I?
I think so.
Either way.
I don't know.
Alex is joining us tonight, guys. But we're going to dive deep, talk about what's happening in the world of bass fishing in the industry side of it. Like I said, he's got his feet buried into it, and we're going to talk about that and then talk about tackletour.com. So we got Alex with us tonight. What's happening in your world, brother?
Well, same old stuff, different week. We've got just dropped a new video yesterday. We're talking about a few weeks back, it's a kind of a little more traditional way, the Nico rig, and how some guys are actually using that, and including with the forward facing sonar for some big finishes in different series. So we kind of go into that and go into how I've been using it. Some of my pro friends have been using it. Man, just the same old stuff, man. We're just grinding, dropping some vids and TikTokages, and hoping that the man don't shut the TikTok down, trying to keep us all quiet.
And that's another story altogether. Holy cow.
Story.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with that. It's too big to do that, but I think they will have it sold, and that's gonna, they want to get it sold so that way they can tell them what they can put up there and what they can't. That's the problem. That's really the problem is we can't actually voice our opinion if they're in control of it, because they'll have it taken down. But since China, Japan, whatever has it now, then we can pretty much voice our opinion and they really don't care because they probably hate us as well. So,
maybe Elon will jump in there and buy that too.
I think he's broke after Twitter.
He'll just let us say whatever we want, like he does on Twitter now.
Yeah, like he does on Twitter. I don't think he's got any money left. I think Twitter took it all. All right, guys, the basscast.com right here, man, has got another stop of the Basscast Tournament Series this Saturday. Crazy Horse Marina, Good V Boat Company for you guys who are just now following and checking them out. 7-3. Smith Mountain Lake. Looking forward to seeing all of you guys there. I know there's a big old BFL down Bugs, but if you got fish in the BFL, come on out and support the basscast.com. Guys, I don't write myself a check. If anybody ever wants to know, I don't think there has ever been a check written in my name in 10 years to the Brian Carter. One day, maybe. But all the money helps support the basscast.com. What we're doing here, right here with me and Geek, I mean, it's not free. So we appreciate you guys sponsoring and being a part of that. So we look forward to you this Saturday, Smith Mountain Lake. And guys, last weekend, spent the weekend with Bass Nation of Virginia. And someone brought it up today. We're on Lake Gaston. And someone brought it up to me today, and he's telling the truth. Every year, I don't care what time we go to Gaston, we're going to get some stupid weather. I mean, we really are. I mean, I've been down there before for an Angler's Choice event many years ago. It snowed. First day is beautiful. Second day of snow. We got inches of snow on the ground the next day. I wake up and it's snowing. And I was like, all right, guys, this is awesome, but I'm leaving. I'm not going to sit here in the snow. And, you know, I had my kid with me, Uncle Eli, Sydney was with me. So me and her loaded up everything. We stayed at Maricamps, and they had these cool little bird houses, and it was a pretty cool experience. I mean, it was nice and warm and toasty, and they just got to sleep in a sleeping bag. Old school here. But yeah, so that was really cool. But we had a great time. But yeah, I woke up snowing. So I mean, it's every year we go to Lake Gaston, it snows. I don't know what it is. I mean,
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Seems like that's every time I get to go fishing, period. Something's happening.
Something is happening in the weather. Mention the weather, guys. If you have not checked out the weather 24/7 at the basscast.com, we've got temperatures throughout the lake. We got lake levels. And we got just a map. It's a 24-hour, 7 days a week running weather radar map where you can zoom in Smith Mountain Lake, see what's going to happen for 5 days. We got the weather covered for you, as well as the Smith Mountain Lake fishing report by Chad Green that will be going up this week as well, getting you ready for next weekend's Big Bass Tour, guys. Big Bass Tour is back this year, 4 days only this year. And we're going to see who's going to take home a brand new boat. I don't want to say nitro. As far as I know, it's still a nitro, but it's a brand new boat from, you know, the Big Bass Tour. And also, there's thousands of dollars to win on top of that, because you guys all know it's a weigh-in every single hour. And this event, this event brings, holy cow, at least 800. Now, they don't do it by boats because you're allowed 3 anglers in a boat if you want. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it brings about 800 people to Smith Mountain Lake.
I love that format. I
do too.
I love that format.
It's kind of like
fun.
It's kind of like the red. I mean, it's a strategy. It really is. It's a real cool strategy behind it.
Yeah.
And they do it down in Tennessee as well. They got an event down there. I mean, you know.
Yeah. There's even some, you know, smaller local people and marinas and stuff that put on just some local big bass events like that down here. So it's pretty neat.
And I think we just had down in North Carolina last weekend the Big Bass Bash that was put on. And that was really cool. And for you guys, I think it was, don't quote me, but that Big Bass event is it like in Texas, and you got to see it in the back of Bassmaster magazine, all like that. They'll promote it in Bassmaster every year, where they give away thousands of dollars. And that was crazy, Geek. We gotta roll. We got a guest coming. But
I never enter those because I just catch dinks. That's just what I do.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I don't catch any fish. I just catch big bass. I mean, really and truthfully, I'll go like my partner catch 4 and I'll catch one nice one. And that's usually it for me. So I mean,
see, I'm like a numbers lake. I'm that lake you go to and you'll catch 112 inches.
So guys, Lake Gaston with all the spots, 2-pound spots, is right from my boy. Hank the Bass Geek.
So I'm the Lake Gaston.
You're the Lake Gaston.
Then okay.
All right, guys, let's get Alex on and talk about what's happening in the world of bass fishing and tackle that you might need to know about coming out here in the next year. Because I mean, you never know what's happening. That's a lot of stuff going on.
I definitely need to know about it.
There you guys go. Alex, welcome back to Basscast Radio. Appreciate you coming on and talking with us tonight, guys. Man, the geek of tackle is here. We should label him as that, man. Alex knows his stuff. I mean,
tackle geek.
I'll take that as a compliment. I love that.
Because the
Thanks
guy
for having me,
does.
guys.
And I want to tell you this right now. If you're not following him on Instagram, the dude catches some giant bass on top of that.
I love throwing swim baits, man. That's my favorite thing.
He is a, and for you guys who are watching on YouTube, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel. By the way, there are rats on the board, there's swim baits behind him. I mean, he has got
Yeah,
like it's a tackle. I ain't gonna say it's a tackle junkie headquarters.
it is.
Yeah, welcome to the swim bait corner of the office over here. Some of my personal arsenal over here. Yeah, I do love my swim baits, especially rats. Favorite thing out. Rat definitely have a rat problem here.
A rat problem. So that's awesome. So guys, we got introduced to the big giant swim baits on Smith Mount Lake many years ago when an angler, a bass master, elite angler, Mr. Skeet Reese, brought them giant swim baits to the East Coast. And that was our big introduction to this thing. We had never seen, besides ordering from Japan or, out of the United States, we had never seen these freaking giant swim baits you're talking about, man.
Yeah, no, they get crazy big, and it's crazy now that I'm throwing baits that I thought were big just a couple of years ago, and they actually look small. So you're going on opposite ends of the spectrum now. People are getting kind of more refined. There's kind of like a finesse swim bait movement going on,
Oh
and then
yeah.
stuff
Mm-hmm.
getting giant. I mean, like you guys know the UFO mothership, right? That
Mm.
not long ago that'd be considered giant, and now I feel pretty good about slinging this one.
I get scared because there's a $50 to $100 price tag on them things.
Yeah.
200 I've seen
There's a
on some
lot
of them.
more than that on that one.
Yeah, 200 because we got our boy Bullshad makes some big old swim baits, handmade, hand painted, all the 9 yards. You're looking hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, Mike makes an awesome glide. Yeah, I mean, nowadays some of the premium swim baits, they're going to go for 350, 400, maybe even more.
Wow.
1,000.
Yeah,
All
Hinkle's,
right.
yeah, 600, 800
Yes.
bucks.
Yes.
That's too rich for my blood. I ain't gonna lie. It, you know, it's we're not, we might dive into it later, but that's like the forward facing sonar and all the other electronics is $4,000. I mean, now we could throw a $800 swim bait. That's anxiety right there.
Takes a little cojones for sure. Yeah, tie good
Yeah,
knot.
because I can tell you one thing. There better be a diver on call if you're gonna give me one of them things. I can tell you that.
The old saying is though, if you're afraid to lose it, don't throw it.
That's right.
Don't buy it. Don't even buy it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So let's dive in tonight. TackleTour.com, brother. That's the headquarters for everything that you do. Tell everybody out there a little bit about TackleTour.com and what they can expect when they go check it out.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, tackledoor.com. We've been doing this for over 2 decades, almost 25 years now. It's crazy. Definitely been doing it a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, there's thousands of articles on there, going way back to the early days. But yeah, we talk about and dive deep into all different types of tackle, especially reels, rods, leers, and now swim baits as well. And we break things down to, like you said, a geek level. We like to take things apart, really test, things like drag, different materials, how different rods behave, their action, really detailing, yeah, every little thing about every single bit of tackle, just to give more information to the angler to see if that applies to their application and hopefully help make them a decision if that bait or product applies to how they like to fish.
Guys, he breaks it down. There's lots of freaking photos. But one cool thing you do, you have a ranking system on there as well.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the ranking system, man. How do you come up with that 3 out of 5 or
Yeah.
8 out of 10? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's always a tough one because like how we fish is different than how other people fish, and you know how every single different lake or body of water is going to be different, how the fish react.
Mm.
So we try to be as quantitative as possible. And our ranking system, it's pretty consistent. And I would say that a lot of anglers say, "Hey, we're too nice to manufacturers," and manufacturers say, "Hey, you guys are too hard on us."
Yeah.
So we try to find the right balance. We basically say it like it is. If we like the product, we say that. If we don't like the product, we say that too. But yeah, you don't have to agree with us, but hopefully take that extra little bit of information and see if that really is something that helps you make a decision. Because like you said, some of this tackle is real expensive. It's a big
Yeah.
purchase.
And that's true. I mean, guys, like I said, head on over and check out the website, TackleTour.com. And it can help you make that choice before you drop the 3, 4, 6, 8, like you're speaking of there a little while ago. Is this product actually worth it? And does it hold up to their test? What are some of the tests that you do? Let's say, okay, so let's swim bait king. Let's talk about that. What's some of the tests that you do that get you to the scoring system for the swim bait?
Sure. Yeah, definitely not a swim bait king. And I mean, I do talk to a lot of guys that are really good swim bait fishermen. Just like I would be a terrible tournament angler because I'm just obsessed with watching the bait. Like I just can't do anything under time pressure, forget about it. Yeah, but for swim baits, I mean, we really study and go in deep. For example, let's take rats, which is my favorite thing.
All right.
And there's different types of rats. There's clack rats, there's slosh rats, there's like crank down rats. And you have to really study how that rat behaves in that situation using different line types, different retrieve types, different retrieve ratios. And we really experiment how it works. We do things in a lab where we'll take everything, we'll weigh it, we'll test, the strength, the tensile strength of how that rat holds up, how it's built, how that lip designs. But there's really no substitute for going out and fishing it and hearing it. As an example, this is a new rat from Elude, and basically it looks like a really similar rat, but there's two different materials. This one over here is on resin, and this one here is made out of wood. And if you shake the resin rat, you hear how it knocks, and you shake the wood rat, and it knocks differently. So we'll test it, and we'll test the same cadence on the same crank, and we'll see how fish basically react to it. And we found that there's different things and different applications, but there's also different durability for this type of rat. So we'll go real deep. There's no substitute for fishing it and put in time. That's one of the things too. Like we're not always the fastest on cranking out reviews because we really put a lot of hours into seeing how that bait works and how it reacts and how to hold up.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna say, Alex,
definitely
how much
detailed.
time do you put into reviewing like one product? I mean, holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do previews to get things out so the information's fresh, but I typically would like to put at least 3 to 4 months into fishing a product. If it's a
Yeah.
reel, I'm going to fish it for 6 to 9 months to see really how well that drag or gear is going to hold up.
Dude, guys, like I said, you need to check out the website, check out the reviews, check out the products. I mean, it's an outstanding website. But we thought we'd bring Alex on tonight and talk about what is happening in the world of tackle. I mean, it's been a quiet year this year. I mean, it's I don't, we're I don't want to say we're over the COVID bubble, but we all had that a year of everybody selling inventory, everything sold out during COVID. Nobody could get anything in, but then we started getting things back in, and now we ordered crazy, and now we got overstock, and now we're trying to dump overstock, and so we're kind of going through a big old cycle right now in the world of products. I mean, and tackle.
Yeah. Yeah, you've well articulated that. Last year, I
Yeah,
think pretty tough for a lot of people. There's a lot of stuff going on right now in the world where
Yeah.
materials are very expensive, labor's very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So guys kind of put a lot of projects on the back burner. They had to really invest in the type of products that were going to sell. So you definitely saw kind of a slowdown in innovation too. Guys weren't introducing flagship products. They were cranking out product that they knew would sell. But I think we're kind of over that now. I do think that this year at ICAST, and this coming season, you're going to see some more innovation again. I know that there's a couple of manufacturers that are going to push the envelope again on some of their Halo product.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you're going to see a lot of cool stuff right around that 149, 199 price range for reels and rods, where there's going to be a lot of that trickle down the technology that's been proven. The material's getting cheaper,
Yeah.
the labor's coming back. So there's going to be some cool stuff there as well too. So also another trend you're seeing on both ends of the spectrum, swim baits are going crazy still. It's one portion of the market that's still growing, both on the custom
Mm-hmm.
swim bait side and the kind of mass-produced injected swim bait side.
right.
You're going to see some more collabs there. And then bait finesse, that's going crazy too. That's something from Asia that's now really picking up steam over here as well.
With the introductory forward-facing sonar, we've seen a big movement in the switch of baits and heads, and everybody's coming out with their own head. I mean,
Yes.
John Cruz just dropped his like a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of different companies. What are you seeing more that's coming in? That's kind of dealing with just for forward-facing sonar. I mean,
Yeah.
like with anything, any new technology, we always make a product to go with it. I mean,
Yeah.
what are you seeing coming in for that?
Yeah, forward-facing sonar. I'm a fan personally. I get how it can be boring to watch, but I mean, if you can see what's happening on there, I love it. I'll tell you what, as a swim bait angler, it has
Oh
definitely
yeah.
reduced the like my wasted cast. If I know
Yeah.
there's a fish there, I can throw on it and then see how that fish reacts, alter my cadence. A lot of times, swim bait guys, you kind of have that mentality, go big or go home. You're casting all the time, making a million casts. Well, now with forward facing sonar, you can throw it out there, get the fish to show itself. And even if they don't commit, then you're going to throw a follow bait behind it, like
Yeah.
either like a chatterbait or like a donkey slayer or a giant vibrating blade, something to get down and get them to commit. So using that as a tool in combination with different bait types is awesome. But I also think a lot of the manufacturers that are smart are going to innovate and design products specifically for forward-facing sonar. You're seeing that with some of the guys like Berkeley's doing the power switch. Like you said, there's different jig heads that actually will sound better. This is a good example of this. This is, I think everybody knows Bait Sandy for swim baits.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're now creating rip baits designed specifically to take advantage of forward-facing sonar. And you can see here, there's a slot here where you
Oh
can
wow,
actually
yeah, I see it.
put in different modules like this.
Oh
Here's
wow.
here's a single rattle, here's a multiple rattle, and then here's actually a weight that you can slot in here. And basically what that's going to enable you to do is to alter the sink rate and the action to take advantage of forward-facing sonar. It's going to allow you to even back reel a little bit to get behind the fish and then reel up to it. Or if it's going to be a little bit more aggressive, you change that module instantly, change your retrieve rate, and now you have a bait that is going to move differently and sound differently to the fish. So that ability to customize without having to retie really quick, that's also something good for forward-facing sonar. And then this is kind of an interesting one that some of the custom swim bait guys are doing, and they can do this kind of on the fly because they're great garage builders. This is clickbait, and they've created what they actually call the sonar. And this is a swim bait, and you can see the line tie there that it's so head weighted that it will actually swim downwards and allow you to target that fish on forward-facing sonar exactly where you see it. So you can basically reel on top of it and it'll swim down to that fish, get right in front of his face. So, there's guys that are innovating, creating baits specifically to take advantage of this great tool.
That is crazy. You guys all know, there a couple years ago there was a jig that came out and it was pretty cool. I met the owner, knew the owner pretty daggone well. It got sold many different times and got sued. But it was one of those baits where, you could add balls into it. You could do a lot of interchange in the bait to make it sound different ways, and the fall rate and all that stuff. So I mean, it kind of wonder, was it before its time? You know what I'm saying? Now, since you see all the innovation coming right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of those, innovations with the new materials, new connection systems, new polymers, things like that, you can get creative and make things easier, make things tighter now with the type of machinery that we have, different resins. Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff was way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
What what's some of the news? What's some of the crazy stuff that you've gotten here lately, man? That's been sent to you to kind of review. I mean,
Both on the I'm liking what I'm seeing a lot on the rod
okay,
side. The combination of materials. Yeah, you mentioned, like, I don't know if you guys like fishing a lot of crankbaits or bladed jigs, and you know how you like
yeah,
people love using glass rods because they love that parabolic action, right? They're a little bit more moderate. It's, preserves it. There's manufacturers like Evergreen, and with the exchange rates now, a lot of the stuff in Japan's becoming more affordable to U.S. anglers. This is the Brett Height Super Combat Rod, and this has a combination of glass as well as carbon fiber in the rod. So it basically has a glass rod that acts like a traditional glass rod, but once you fish it and set into the fish, it's not going to have any of that, that twist because it's got biased graphite in there. They're also using a carbon fiber grip right here. So basically it's a full extension of the vibration from the blank itself into the hand of the angler. So, seeing advanced materials being put into a rod like this, this rod's over $400, but it's a nice rod. And if you absolutely love bladed jig fishing, this is a really very great application specific rod for you. So I think you're going to see a lot more kind of really application specific products that are designed to maximize effectiveness across each technique.
but Alex, a $400 rod really is not crazy though. I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean,
because we had that a couple years ago where there were a lot of, I mean, even Geek knows there were a lot of rod companies making these high dollar rods. And then all of a sudden, well, we've got to make a $175 rod to be able to stay in business.
Yeah.
Because can't everybody afford a $400 rod, but everyone still would like a the 9 to 5 angler would still like a decent fishing rod,
Yeah.
not a
And
Walmart rod.
it's like we talked about earlier. I think, with some of these materials and techniques, it's really expensive at first.
Hmm.
The labor's expensive, the material's expensive. They're experimenting with different resins, some of the nano resins. They don't know if they're going to mass produce a ton of it. And they're going to debut that in the Halo rod, and they'll see how that sells. And then those technologies, those features, real manufacturers are really good at this. They'll start pushing that down as the tooling
Yeah.
gets
Yeah.
that gearing gets pushed down. Some of the $149 reels now are as good as, the reels they were using that were $299 just a few seasons ago.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
Yeah, how smooth they are now. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like
Yeah.
that new Shimano SLX.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Great reel.
Great reel. But if you want the high-end stuff, like this is that new Shimano Metanium DC that
Hmm.
just introduced, and you want the latest DC module, and you want the best ergonomics and the lightest, magnesium body, they still have this too. So,
Yeah.
I love to see Halo products come out because that's coming. That's
Oh
coming
yeah.
down the pipe eventually, just a few seasons later.
Well, look at
Wow.
the SLX, DC too. I mean, that's
Oh,
prime example.
That's right. That's
Uh,
right. Yeah, that's a great example. DC
yeah.
used to be something just for enthusiasts, right? That
Yes.
for $400 product. And I think that was one of the things they did that was really smart with IDC 4 and 5, and
Hmm.
basically made it, more affordable module that could be used, for lower end reels or value or
Yeah.
mainstream reels. And they made this technology that was designed specifically for fine tuning and casting and that enthusiast into making it easier to cast, reducing number of backlashes, just bringing it down for a different audience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've seen that, that's been and that was a real big seller a couple years ago, was the elimination of more backlashes and things like that in reels. And the more bearings, we're adding 8, we're adding 12, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
it was getting crazy.
Right. You couldn't feel the difference. I mean, the bearing wars
Yes.
were there. Like basically count bearings, but at the end of the day, how does that feel? How is that improving, the fishing experience for the angler? I think that's
Mm,
important.
yeah. Yeah. That's very important. So how do you guys system, when you talk about different price levels, do you guys go about rating your, kind of separating the price levels out when you're doing some of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, there's reels, for example, that um, they're going to get dinged real hard for price. I mean, price is one of the categories. We look at
Yeah.
the build quality, we look at the application, we look at the price, we also look at ergonomics for the product.
Mm.
And for those products, it'll get dinged. But that's why that number, for example, like an enthusiast reel may have like a 4 or 5 on a price rating, which is going to pull down the ultimate number for the.
Overall rating.
But it still may be a great product and win like an
Yeah.
ultimate enthusiast award, because at the end of the day, that particular target audience, they're not as, I guess, influenced or affected by the price. They're willing
Yeah.
to pay a higher price
Right.
for
Right.
the ultimate, flagship, highest end Halo product.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, you've got to take that into account when you're looking at it. But certainly, yeah, I mean, a value-oriented or mainstream angler, they're probably going to look at that and go, "There's no way I'd pay for that." So they're going to have to take that price into consideration. But and look at some of the other categories and see if it really makes sense for them or not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I keep a few billion rods and reels on my boat all
I
the
can see
time.
that. Yeah.
So yeah, oh yeah. That's not that's what both rod lockers look like right there.
Right, right,
So
right.
because I'm
But
I'm totally against retying. So yeah, I try to find those bang for the buck, and
Yeah,
then for me, the techniques that I really go, to those halo, rods and reels are the
right.
techniques that I really are my kind of go-tos where I know I'm going to be using them. I know I'm going to be fishing, this a lot. So I know the feel. I've
yeah,
got
Right.
it honed in to where I know what I want to feel out of my rod, out of my line, out of my reel,
right.
when I'm throwing that bait. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. Who's got time for retying, right? I mean, if you're out there, you want to be fishing. So yeah,
you're not catching them while you're sitting there, snipping tag ends.
that's
That's
right.
true.
Yep, yep, yep.
That is very, and a lot of guys, a lot of people out there don't understand tournament fishing and don't understand why they have so many rods up there. And, a lot of it's for the different specifics that they want to fish that day, but also different pound test line on rods. I mean, there's a lot of different
Yeah.
reasons because like Geek
Well,
said, you don't want
yeah,
to be retying throughout the day,
yeah,
and you don't want to, pick up, like you were saying earlier, throw a swim bait, then go behind, throw a chatterbait. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
be ready. Be ready.
Yeah. Well, and I always say that. I always say it's the reason why I tell, the average angler, they're like, I don't really need, all these electronics. I'm like, how many days a week do you fish?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, I get out once or twice. I'm like, well, you need them more than the pros do. I'm like, they're fishing, 4, 5, 6, 7 days a week. I said, you know what I like to do when I go fishing? I like to catch them.
That's right. That's right.
So
That's
I'll
right.
take any advantage I can get. And that's the same way, with the rods and reels, I'm not telling you need 100, but trust me, when you're out there and, you can go down a bank and
Right.
there's a
Oh
lay
yeah.
down and I can flip
Oh
it
yeah.
and then I can crank the rock behind it and then I can, it's nice. So
Yeah, absolutely. You know it's a good day fishing when at the end of the day you've got all your rods on the deck. They've migrated out of the locker onto the deck. You've been shifting things around. Like that's a
yeah.
good day fishing. Yeah.
No, that's the exact opposite for me. That's when it's a bad day fishing because I have
Oh,
no clue what's going on. I'm throwing the kitchen sink at them.
everything. Yeah. Yeah. I hear that.
Alex, like you said, the future of bass fishing, wow, it's been getting crazy. Bigger swim baits, bigger baits total. What do you see? What are you hearing coming that we might be looking for coming from ICAST 2024, man?
Yeah, I mean, there, I think we're going to see some more collabs. Honestly, there's like two sides of the big bait market.
Mm,
There's guys that are working with companies to make baits more affordable. I think that's a big thing. So, the custom bait builders, we call them garage bait builders.
Yeah.
mhm.
Great builders like, UFO and Elude. They're pioneering a lot of different baits. There's a lot of artistry in there. They're still, painting everything. They're creating really cool baits. And then on the other end, you're going to see companies, for example, like Spro, how they partnered with KGB.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're making like the Chad affordable.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the cool things, people always say, oh, the custom bait is so much better than the mass produced bait. That's not always the case. I mean, I love custom baits because everyone is really unique, and you get one
Yeah.
that's fishy that runs right. Like, make sure that you keep that bait. Like for example, this rat. This is my favorite rat. It's got gouge marks in it. Um, it just makes the right perfect knock. It's got just the perfect cadence, and every wood rat is different because wood is different.
Mm.
That's
One of the
true.
yeah, I mean it's not the same. So you don't always get that kind of consistency, but you get that artistry versus like a kind of a bait where you can build it and it's injected. The advantage here is one, it's more affordable, so more anglers can get
Right.
it. Two, you can do things that like we talked about, like the bait connect system on this bait sanity bait where you can switch out different tails.
Mm.
Um, but the real advantage is also there's going to be a lot more consistency in an injected bait.
Yeah.
Typically, every single one you buy doesn't need to be tuned. It's like you
That's
buy a good
true.
bait, everyone's fish is the same. You might have to upgrade the hooks, but for the most part, you're getting a bait that you don't have to put any time to tie it on, go to town. So you're going to see more of that. I think that we are seeing rats go a little bit more mainstream. Typically, rats in the past have always been kind of like a fringe part of the market. Now you're seeing like the evergreen combat rat. You previously had the BBZ rat. But guys are using it as a tool, and we're seeing tournament anglers doing that too for kicker fish.
Yeah.
I know it's a great low light tool, but it's actually a great fish catcher. So you're going to see more of that as well too. That are going to be affordable to anglers. And I think that's a big thing, is kind of taking the innovation from the garage on the garage side, and there's still always going to be baits that are like collectible, awesome baits from the garage build custom scene, but also more and more baits that you can order that are kind of proven using some of the elements that have been
Right.
in that market.
Yeah. Guys, what was it? It's about 2 or 3 years ago at ICAST. I think the rat ended up winning. I want to say, or was
Hmm.
right in the top of the list or something like that. You really start seeing the rat at ICAST. What was that geek? It's been a couple years ago,
I don't remember which one it was.
but it's been a couple years ago. The rat was really introduced and was brought to ICAST,
Yeah.
and made its kind of first debut. And then you saw a lot of people start fish the rat, and it's still to this day. Like you were saying, Alex, I think it's one of baits no one talks about because they go out there and catch a lunker off of it, and then they come
Hmm.
back and say, I caught a lunker on a Zoom. and because they kind of want to keep the rat on the DL. I mean,
Yeah.
because years ago we had a snake come out. I mean, someone made a daggone snake because
Yeah.
bass eat snakes. I mean, it's
Absolutely. I mean, I always say like, people, I do get people ping me sometimes too on Instagram, like, dude, they really eat that? Like they can't even believe it, And even some tournament anglers I talk to, because they 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 don't have time to throw rat. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a big fish bait, but at the same time, it's not a bait that's going to drive as many strikes, So,
Hmm.
or there's only certain times a day where they can fish it, and a lot of times that's not going to line up with the tournament. But I posted videos cast to catch, and also like to show people that not only is it a very effective bait, it's a fun bait to fish. Like when you get at blow up, it's like dropping like a cannonball in the water, or you get a giant flush on
oh
it.
yeah,
It's addictive, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like getting a massive like frog strike. Um, but yeah, I mean, rat fishing it's very effective. It's a blast. And then like we were talking about earlier, it's not always the bait that's going to catch the fish, but it will get fish to show themselves.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and honestly, in nature, everything eats rats. Like we always say, like
Yeah.
even rats eat rats. So like,
Yeah.
I mean,
I got a cat here and killed two of them in the last week. All right. No, I think it's just one. But yeah, so
yeah,
I mean, yes, you're right. Um, the industry as a whole, we'll finish it up right here. But we saw since COVID a lot of the tackle industries shrinking, being bought up, being purchased.
yeah,
Some of the larger names in the industry buying up, and a lot, I know the 9 to 5 angler really doesn't pay attention to that, and they really don't care about that side of it. But as a whole, it's kind of made pro staff shrink. It's made sponsorship shrink.
hmm
Yeah.
And and a lot of the sponsorship we saw it with a couple weeks ago. Well, it's been, good God, time flies. Right at the beginning of the season. We saw with who was it? Gene Jensen.
hmm
And
13 and
yeah,
yeah, being
13 when
bought
they got
and
bought, and how they got rid of like all their pro staff members
hmm
except for the pros.
well, and the whole I don't know how it involves some of their stuff, but Mystery Tackle Box fell on some hard times too. So
Yeah,
and there's a lot of bait companies that they own, like Biospawn and several other little companies like that. So
hmm
what have you seen, on the business side of it,
Yeah, I mean, with last year being tough, I think we did see an accelerated amount of kind of consolidation within this industry. There were a lot of guys that said, "Hey, maybe this is the time where it's time for to sell my brand or to sell my
right?
product line to a larger company." So we do see some of that, but at the same time, we are seeing more startups, companies as well too, getting into it, especially in the bait scene. It's cool to see companies like Baits come into the reel scene, and that there's a big barrier to entry
mm,
coming in there. But you're seeing new reel companies come out. So
yep,
and doing something a little bit different, focusing on quality, using machining instead of like, forging.
yeah,
So I think there's always going to be room for innovation, but at the same time, yeah, don't be afraid of consolidation. And, in regards to pro staff, I always hate to see when, manufacturer gets gobbled up and all the pro staff,
yeah,
they're
yeah,
looking for the next one. Because these guys really are great ambassadors of sport. When I fish with these guys, the amount of knowledge that they have, they when you fish as much as these guys do, they see things differently.
Right.
yep.
The way they would fish a bait or how they would approach that particular situation, that's good knowledge. There's the YouTubers, they've got great stuff, and there's different approaches. So hopefully those guys, they can contribute to other different companies.
Hmm.
Or up and comers.
Yeah,
So
we're in a cycle. We really are in a,
yeah,
we went through COVID, and I hate bringing COVID up. I really do. Good God. But we went through that whole cycle, and we're in another cycle.
yeah.
And the cycle alone is it's gonna flush out. And also, Alex, it's gonna flush out the good and the bad.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. I
Well,
I, I agree. And I would say too, like, don't be afraid of change. I mean, honestly,
yeah, I
with
agree.
live scope, with new technology, new applications, like I'd say think the best anglers and the best companies, they find ways to adapt. If
Yes,
you're gonna
yes,
cling on to the old way of fishing, or having to only fish certain techniques or certain type of products, you're gonna be left behind. I
yep,
mean, that's a reality, both as an angler and a manufacturer.
yep. And that's something I'm lucky enough to work with a lot of different companies. And, I've already, as
Hmm.
I was showing Brian, I've got a few prototypes right here from some Japanese companies that I work with. And, I'm like you, like I love, you'll get my live scope when you pry it from my cold dead hands,
Right, right,
I
right.
mean, and, so, seeing the innovation on that, because I'm the guy that's always like, you know, I just hit 77,000 subs. And so I know what it's like to go out, fish an area, and then have everybody and their mama come just destroy it. So I know that while I'm out there and I'm learning a new lure and I'm getting ready to show it, that I need to be 3 lures ahead already,
Right.
because I know they're going to come in. So that's the part about doing what I do. I love, and I cannot wait to see. Because one of the companies, I'll tell you a little secret. I was talking to a company, and I was like, we really need to do like a jerk bait, but not with a lip, but it's got a good sink rate, but it still
Mm,
can walk.
mm,
And then they come out with the finisher. And I
mhm.
sent this company a text and said, "You remember the conversation I had with you?"
Dang.
So that was pretty funny. But I can't wait. I can't wait to see, and I can't wait to see some of your reviews on that stuff. Hey, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What's your take? So I've discovered two, and what's real funny is I don't even think First Gen knew that their bait would do the gliding
Hmm.
winding technique
Hmm.
until I did a video on it.
Hmm.
Their jaw dropper. But have you seen the BR head and fish from Duo? And you've seen that kind of technique before, the
Yeah,
winding
I
and
have.
gliding? What do you
Yeah,
think about that?
I
I
think
haven't
it's
seen if you guys have done a review on that product or not.
yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, I think with every single bait, especially swim baits,
Yeah,
especially big baits, they all have their own like unique personality.
yeah,
Everything like the geometry of the lip design, or how
yeah.
the profile is, makes a difference. And the best anglers are going to put in the time. It's
Hmm.
just like you mentioned, everything's about like experiencing things and data, and taking that data in and then making
Yes.
adjustments, and then really unlocking that bait's full potential. And some of it's
Yeah.
beef, like worth working the perfect rod action, or are you going to
Yes.
consistent retrieves, or is it going to be fished better with like with just real bumps? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, don't be afraid to adapt and continually adjust and experiment. I mean, how many times we throw something out there and we're doing that bump, 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 or we're doing that quarter turn and nothing's happening, and then you're like, man, I'm gonna fish this tomorrow. You reel it back, and suddenly when you're doing a straight reel, a fish
Yeah.
hits, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So just like you said, just keep adapting, adjusting, trying
Yeah.
different things, and unlock that full potential of that bait. Um, Maybe it's not the way that the designer or bait maker intended for it to be fished,
Yes.
but it might be the right way to fish it.
That's
Exactly.
awesome. Alex, before you leave, man, anything you'd like to plug or anything of that nature beside TackleTour.com? Guys, like I said, you need to head on over and check it out. They review a lot of great products, put a lot of time into the review. It's not just a little quick little story, it's an in depth review of why you should spend $400 on a swim bait or a lure or
No, all that
something else.
expensive. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate the time, guys. Thanks for having me on. I love talking shop with you guys. I appreciate that. Check me out at Xander Tackle Tour on IG. And if there's a product that you the readers want to see, or us to delve a little bit deeper into, ping me on there. Happy to talk shop with those guys there. But we definitely take the feedback, and we try to focus our resources on testing and reviewing the products that are going to be the most interest. And I would also say, hey, if you haven't thrown a rat, tie one on. Especially go out
Oh
there at
yeah.
sunset, man. Once,
I
like I
got
said,
I got
one blow
some
up,
right there.
yeah, baby. I love it. I love it. Yeah,
All right,
go get them.
guys. AlexTackleTour.com. brother, man. Appreciate you coming on and talking to us. It's always great to see you, and keep it real out there on the West Coast. You know, guys, a lot of great stuff's happening out there on the West Coast. I mean, we got new tournament series popping up. I mean, there's a lot of great things, and some that if anybody saw the that WON Bass tournament series from the weekend, holy is all I want to say, because they caught some giant freaking bass.
Clear Lake, baby, it's back.
They caught some giant bass. I mean, giant bass out there. So, guys, the lake is back. So, head on over there and check it out. But, guys, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to be right back. All right, guys. Really appreciate Alex coming on and being with us tonight and talking tackle with us here at the basscast.com. You guys know we we're more of a vlog website and talk about tournament trails and try to help you guys out. But Alex is deep in this thing. I mean, he really is, and they take a lot of time and learn about the baits and write a great review. And guys, if you're looking at buying a new bait and it's expensive, and some of these baits are extremely expensive, head on over tackletour.com and check it out and read your review. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, me and Geek are geeks. I'm not gonna spend $4,000 on a camera without reading some reviews.
No.
I mean, sorry, I'm not. I mean, guys, I'll tell you this, the rooftop tents on my car, I've looked at them for 4 years.
Ooh.
Because I wanted to make sure I got the right one, the best price at the best deal. And that bad boy was not cheap. And I knew it wasn't going to be cheap.
Yeah.
But I wanted something where I knew that I could sleep good in it. And the last 2 times I've slept in it, I've slept great. So, I mean,
research pays off.
Research pays off. And Alex has a great platform for you guys, for everyone out there to learn about some great baits, new baits coming down, and baits we might never, cool thing is, guys, for us out here on the East Coast, it could be some shit what they're talking about there on the left coast, West Coast, left coast, West Coast that we don't know about. And guys, you could go on there to tackletour.com, learn about this product, order one, and kick your boys' butts. Kind of like, the Ski Ree story that I always bring up, because I mean, heck, he was the first one. I hadn't seen, we've seen swim baits, 5-inch, 6-inch, just the regular size. Ain't nobody on this side has seen one of them things yet. I know I hadn't seen one of them things as long as my freaking laptop. So
I'd seen them. We kind of knew about them down here.
Okay, he had already seen them. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just another tool, like me and Geek were talking about right here. It's another tool to help you make a decision.
It's true.
Before you spend a lot of money. And we what was that? Consumer Reports, guys. If we really want to turn back the clock.
Hey, they're still around.
They're still around. I mean, everybody read Consumer Reports back in the day. If you're a techie, geeky person and want to learn about a car or this, that, and that. I mean,
you got to learn what you got, what the rating is.
Got to learn, you got to read. It's kind of like reading the rules, guys. You got to do all of it. I mean, come on. All right.
Ooh.
Appreciate him being on. Appreciate him talking tackle with me and Geek tonight. But thank you guys for taking a listen. I know it's quiet this weekend around here. I know there's a BFL angler, the Basscast tournament series. And guys, the basscast.com will be on Smith Mountain Lake for 4 days for the Big Bass Tour. It is a media bonanza. We interview, we talk to people. It's a big week for us because we get to meet a lot of people from a lot of locations. It's going to be a lot of social media, a lot of Twitter, a lot of everything going on. And one last thing before you go, man. Are you getting our newsletter? You need to check it out.
Gotta get that.
It's a great newsletter. It's only a couple stories in it, but we try to, it's just different things, and it's something you're not going to see anywhere else. And I'm looking for a writer for the newsletter. I'm not gonna lie, I've had 2 writers quit, and it's just over. It's not because of the Basscast, it's because of personal things, and things changed in their life and they had to go a different direction. So we're currently looking for writers as well. So if you want to be a part of the basscast.com and write for the basscast.com, we'd love to have you. So hit me up on all the other social media platforms, or Brian at the basscast.com. So have a great night, everyone. Make sure you follow the geekiest, and we still got that goal of 100,000.
Hey, give us a sub. We just hit 77.
77. So we're getting closer. So let's get him to 100,000 by the end of 2024. Have a great night, everyone. And we'll see you all next week right here on Basscast Radio.